Hello, and welcome to the Devcon 3 designer commentary video. Our idea was to use a 3D platformer that combines both physics simulations and the arcade-style gameplay. All movement done by the player is controlled by physics calculations. This is done by adding forces to the character's rigid body. This allows for the player to interact with physics objects within the game world. We wanted the player to have a high mobility character controller, which is why we gave the character a double jump along with the ability to climb certain surfaces. Originally, we did not know how we were going to combine physics simulations in with a 3D platformer until we got the suggestion from the teacher to have the squirrel increase in mass and size once he eats acorns, and he's able to spit those out and shrink in size. From this feature, we started coming up with more dynamic ways that this would interact with the player, so the player would decrease in mobility, not being able to jump as high, his stamina would deplete faster, and he wouldn't be able to climb for as long. Now with our main mechanic established, we are able to put in certain simulation puzzle elements into their game. So our first was a simple prop that's holding up a platform that you need to reach, and you just have to grow in mass to knock that out. This is just to show players kind of what we're expecting from them and to be prepared for that in the future. Next, we wanted to show the mechanic of exhaustion due to being in high mass, so we showed that the character must shrink in size in order to make certain distances. This is because when you're at a higher mass, your stamina will deplete faster, which means you have less time to climb. Then we demonstrated to the player that with their increased size, they're able to push heavier objects, so they'll be able to push the box in order to reach the goal, in order to jump up and make it to the next level. This is part of the design where we started to have a lot of fun with it. So we started, our original concept is that we would have to deal with falling objects that would knock you down while you're trying to climb up. And you'd have to use your agility to kind of like avoid these obstacles. Next, we added dominoes, just sort of in the game world, so that you can just kind of play around them and then get a sense of what you have to do next, which is grow in size and then knock over an even bigger domino, and then that will take you to the next part of the level. Then finally, to finish off the experience, we have the player push a big heavy boulder down a hill, and that'll knock over a bunch of pins at the end, which will cause the playable prototype. This physics-based interaction is probably the closest we have to our design goal, where we combine both a 3D platformer and physics calculations to kind of make a cohesive experience. So the key task I was enrolled with on this project was coding. So I coded the movement of the character, that goes for climbing, as well as the mechanic of eating and growing in size and mass, setting up all of the physics objects in the Unity game engine, and then as well as environment design. So I just added realistic materials to all of the 3D objects that we used in the level, just to kind of make it look a lot better than it was. Next, I was in charge of the level design of the level, making sure that when the player goes through, it shows off our mechanics, but it's also a fun experience. And then finally, I worked on the audio aspect, so I added audio for jumping, for dying, for climbing, for moving, when you spit out an acorn and when you collect an acorn, and then just the music track that plays in the background. Yeah, and that's everything I did. Thank you so much for watching.